Hello, MTP community. How are we doing? I've got my Texas Longhorns jumper on today, representing the university. But outside of that, we are going to be chatting to Juliana once again about our various nutrition topics. It's been pretty exciting. We covered some really great stuff. I think it was 3 weeks ago now. Really great stuff on protein, which was awesome. We got some good responses, good interactions on the community, and that was one of the burning questions that everyone had. Let me just check if this is Jules here. No viewers online yet, that's fine. So she will be jumping in anytime. But what we're going to be talking about today is the concept of weight loss. And specifically, the question was the best way to lose weight. Now, Juliana has some very interesting perspectives on this. So it'll be great to get her input. As some of you may know, Juliana has a bit more of a kind of no diet focus. Jerome, my friend, how are you doing out in the Philippines? Good to catch you on here. Hope everything's going well. We've got people in this community from all over the world, so it's awesome to see. But again, we're waiting for Juliana to jump on down in Canberra, for those of you that aren't aware. But yeah, she's been doing plenty of work with people who kind of are concerned about weight loss and their dieting and things like that, and has come to realize through her own experience and some really interesting insights that might not be the way to go all the time. So I think for myself, I'm keen to hear what she has to say about that because, it's very easy to get trapped into the diet thinking and the idea that, I need to look a certain way and my body needs to be a certain way. And it will be very interesting to hear what she has to say. So we're just waiting for her to jump on. But while we are waiting, here we go. Oh, hang on. Saying can't seem to be able to join. Ask how to join. Let me just quickly respond. John. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully this works. I just responded to Juliana there. What has been going on at MTP? Well, we've got some pretty exciting news. A new clinic opening up very shortly, or will be revealed if you're watching this. So we've kind of been putting a bit of suspense out there, but all will be revealed on that new clinic in the very short future. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. I think a lot of you will be very happy about that because it may or may not be closer to the area where you guys are living. Here is Juliana now, so I'll just get her to jump on. Also, our online stuff is going great. Online programs going really well. So it's great to have everyone interacting with that. Please give us feedback about the content as well. We want to keep making that better. So I'll add Juliana in now, and we'll get started. Let's just wait for her to jump on in. But again, please guys, give us comments, feedback. The more you interact, the better it becomes for us. I love just watching comments. Juliana, how are you going?
Hello. I am
Finally.
well. How are you?
Yeah, very good actually. I'm not sure what the weather is like in Canberra. Sunny but overcast, so we can't complain. It's been raining a lot recently actually.
Yeah, it's overcast here as well.
Yeah,
Bit cold.
it'd be freezing down there, right? Okay, so without kind of getting into everything else too much, why don't we get started? The question was initially the best way to lose weight, and we had a bit of dialogue about the question earlier. But I think if we just ask that question to you, if someone was like to ask you like, what is the best way to lose weight? How would you respond to that? Like, what would be your answer?
Okay, am I back?
Yes. Let me just. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Is that good? Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Yep, I can hear you. Should be all good.
Okay, good. I think there's a massive delay happening.
Okay, yeah, apologies for that, guys, if it is annoying, and apologies to you, Juliana. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. All right, so I got the first bit of the question, which was, what's the best way to lose weight? Is that right?
Yep, yeah. So if someone asked you that, how would you answer it?
That's the $1 million question. Things to consider is mostly why you want to lose weight in the first place. And usually the reasons that I get for that are two. One is purely aesthetic. I just want to look a certain way. And that's something that I personally don't work with. I've made that decision that that's not a topic that interests me enough to pursue it. I think it's in a way unhealthy. It gets people to focus too much on looks and the way that they might chase a certain number on the scales, or more often than not, I see them getting into a downward spiral of, no, if I just lose 5 kilos, then I'll be happy with myself. If I just lose 2 more kilos, then, and it kind of never arrives, this then. So it's something that I don't like to work with. The second part is they might say, well, it's because of my health. I'm worried about my health. I am too overweight. And again, to that I say, more often than not, weight is a side effect of something else that's going on. So say, if you have a poor relationship with food, and you're using strategies for emotional eating, you using food as a coping mechanism, then that's what needs to be addressed, and the weight will do what it needs to do. If you have insulin resistance, then your body's not dealing with carbohydrates as well as it could, and that's affecting your weight. So that's what needs to be dealt with. And other things, like a lot of the times with muscular issues, or in terms of, I'm too heavy for my joints and things like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's more that my muscles are not strong enough for my joints.
Yeah.
Rather than being too heavy per se. So again, even in a situation like that, it's not about the weight, it's about the composition.
Yep. Completely. I think as an interesting anecdote with that, we have an article series on what causes osteoarthritis, and one of the parts of that is like being overweight. But the hypothesis at the end of that, or the conclusion, I should say, is that the actual weight itself isn't the issue. It's more the inflammation associated with being overweight. Now, is that a chicken or the egg? Like, are you inflamed because you're overweight, or is it because of the food that you're eating that's causing you to be overweight? 100%. Like, it's not necessarily the weight itself. It is your ability to cope with the stress that your body is being dealt with, and typically that's just a load issue. Have you done too much too soon? So no, that's a really interesting insight there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the inflammation, again, it's focusing on how can we reduce the inflammation, what are the dietary changes that we can make to their diet, to make sure that we are focusing on anti-inflammatory foods, removing inflammatory foods, rather than trying to lose weight. Because if you focus on the weight loss itself, you miss all the reasons behind what that weight actually means. And you might end up, I usually ask clients, I say, all right, you want to lose 5 kilos. If I waved, a magic wand and got you to lose 5 kilos, but it was 5 kilos of purely muscle, would you be happy with the result? And, everyone says, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. So again, it's thinking about, or say, okay, even if we lost you, got you to lose the weight, but your diabetes got worse, would you be happy with that? No, that's not what I mean. So it really is focusing on what's the issue behind the weight, and our understanding of how much weight itself is a problem. So it's not to say that I'm I'm not anti-weight loss, but I'm just weight neutral. Just thinking, what else is there apart from weight that we can look at and focus on?
Yeah, okay. I like that term, the weight neutral, because we can have a lot of cognitive biases towards weight loss because it's just so heavily rammed down our throats all the time. It's like everyone's saying you got to lose weight, it's the best thing for your health, and it's obviously not necessarily it's more of a lag measure of other things being taken care of. I guess, like, do you have any insights or stories as to where you really kind of changed your perspective on that? Did you initially think weight loss was something that was important? What was the turning point for you with that?
Yeah, I think going into study nutrition, usually that's kind of the idea that you have. It's like, okay, I'm going to help people lose weight because too much weight is bad. And the more you learn about, the more you see what are actually the issues that people are going through. You see them, well, hang on, weight is not the actual problem here. And there's been a lot of studies done in terms of that, and saying most people that lose weight end up putting the weight back on again. So how much value is there in trying to get someone to reach a certain number if that's not necessarily helping them achieve their overall goals or make them healthier? So yeah, it is a bit of experience and reflection that you start to go, no, there's something that's not fitting well here.
Yeah, okay. That's very interesting. And, like, I guess, how do you measure the improvements in health then for people? Is it specific to the person?
Well, yeah, depends on what they're trying to work with. But say with diabetes, you would look at their blood sugar controls, you would look at their HbA1c, you would look at the lipid levels. In general, you can look at all those things. You can also look at the liver function. You can look at subjectively, how much energy they feel they have through the day, how well they're recovering from exercise, how well they're sleeping. All those things are going to be other ways to measure progress, or how many times they felt that they were eating for reasons other than hunger. how many times they felt out of control with their food choices. All those things you can measure still and look at that progress rather than you're 200 grams lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, which is so variable anyway. I know when I jump on the scales, I can go from, 3 or 4 kilos difference depending on the time of day.
Absolutely. And if you're someone who really focuses on the number, a lot of the times we also hear that the best time to weigh yourself is in the morning, right? So as soon as you wake up, go to the toilet, take your clothes. Sorry, I got cut off. My back.
So it just cut off a little bit. I can hear you now. I think that's better.
Okay. So I was talking about, yeah, if you're really focused on the number on the scales
Yep.
and how that number can influence the rest of your day.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. And it puts you in a
You know?
state of mind.
Yeah, like if you're 200 grams heavier, which very easily you can be, like there's 2 kilos variation in weight is normal depending on your hydration and the contents of your stomach and last time you went to the toilet. All those things will influence your weight, and that can make a big difference as to how people perceive themselves on that day and the choices that they're going to be making. So it's very, very tricky to just rely on the scales.
No, absolutely. Like there was an interesting anecdote where they had I heard this, I think it was a study where some sprinters were running and they either lowered the running or increased the distance and then they timed it. So they thought they were either getting faster or slower. And the group that thought they were getting faster because they were only running like 95 meters ended up having increased testosterone and they were so much more confident going into then running 100 meters and they actually set PBs. Whereas the group that thought they were running slower, not achieving their PBs, actually ended up running slower in the 100-meter overall. So it's like the mindset of it, having focused on a specific number and not getting there, just affects everything. It's not just the way you well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the weight is not something that you have a lot of control over.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's a secondary. It's a result of something else. So it's way better to focus on the things that you do have control.
No, super interesting. Like I really like that perspective, and I think there's definitely a lot that I certainly can learn from that because focusing on the health outcomes is so much more important. Like realizing that that weight is a lagging indicator can have a massive impact. So I think what would you like to leave people with on the back of this? Like if you were to give someone a message to help them to put themselves in the right frame of mind, like how would you kind of frame that?
I'd say ask why. Try to dig deeper. What's behind the need or the want to lose weight? Oh, I want to lose 5 kilos. Why? Oh, because then I'll feel better. Why? Oh, because blah. Why? So keep asking that why to really get to have a clear understanding. Oh, hang on, am I associating my weight with my self-worth? Am I trying to fix my diabetes just looking at a number? That sort of thing. So asking why will give you that clarity of what's behind it.
Okay, no, super interesting. That's something that I think will definitely be useful for a lot of people. I know, like for anyone really realizing it. I think a lot of the times it's like, oh, you feel like you have to look that way, but some people's bodies might not necessarily be at their healthiest when they look like that.
Absolutely.
Super interesting.
Absolutely. That's a really important message as well, especially looking at athletes. Um, a lot of athletes is not because they're athletes that they're necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
And that was a big kind of wake up call for me to think about that. So not sports, particularly as an elite level, does not necessarily mean that health goes hand in hand. Sometimes they can go their separate ways.
Interesting. Okay, like I'll definitely we'll follow. I think we'll have to follow up that up in the coming weeks because I really like that idea that just because you look good doesn't mean that you're healthy. So I'm sure there's some very interesting insights there as well. So look, thanks for your time today, Juliana. Really appreciate it, and
No worries, Ben.
yeah, we got some great stuff. So I wish you all the best for the week ahead, and enjoy Canberra.
Thank you. Have a good week too.
Cheers. Thanks very much.